تعطيل العمل بالدستور بشكل مؤقت. يؤدي رئيس المحكمة الدستورية.
On 3rd of July 2013, Abdel Fattah al-Sisi announced the overthrow of Mohammed Morsi, the president of Egypt. His speech on that day was the declaration of starting a new period in which the military coup leader will control the country. University students have been playing a very important role in opposing the movement of the military against the democratic operation in Egypt. This role has reached its peak by the beginning of the academic year in the middle of September, after 1 month from Rabia massacre. A lot of Egyptian students have been forced to leave their country because of their political opinion. Moreover, some students couldn't take any official document proving that they have finished some years in education, so they had to start again from the beginning. Besides having all these obstacles which prevent them from staying in Egypt and let them feel unsafe, students who decided to leave the country have had another issue at the airport when the government asked it to have a security permission from each student who is going to study abroad, and this permission should be taken from the Ministry of Interior Security. The majority of Egyptian students prefer Turkey, Malaysia, and Cyprus to continue their studies in. The first and the most important reason behind their preferences is that these countries didn't have a lot of restrictions for the residence permit, so that students can avoid having the security permit from Egypt by taking tourism visa to the country they want to go. The second thing is that these countries are not as expensive as the European countries, and also they could be accepted in universities of these countries easily. Omar Ismail, an Egyptian student who is living now in Istanbul, has left Egypt after his injury in a protest inside Al-Azhar University's campus, and he came to Turkey so that he could start his university again. As all Egyptians, Omar had a lot of dreams about his country after the revolution in 2011. They all wished to build their country again, but all these dreams were come to an end by the military coup.
So as you know, after the revolution in Egypt, the situation was going to be better. Politically, also in the society, we had hope after the revolution. But you know, all of this destroyed when the coup came.
Omar participated in the protests and the sit-in of Rabia Square. Protesters were asking for the retrieval of democracy and for the return of the first elected president, Mohammed Morsi. This sit-in was ended by the Egypt's darkest day, as marked by Amnesty International, when a lot of military soldiers backed with police entered the square with armed forces and helicopters, turning it into a bloodshed.
مصورة بشكل كامل، وسيتم رصد المخالفين وأي مخالفات ترتكب ضد القوات. عملية فض الاعتصام تتم بقرار من النيابة العامة وبحضور وسائل الإعلام والمنظمات الحقوقية والمجتمع المدني.
So I was there till Rabia massacre. It was a terrible day. A lot of friends has died in this day. A lot of people has died also. It was like the most hard day I ever seen in my life.
Just in Rabia massacre, at least 116 students were killed, more were injured, and these procedures against them didn't stop after that. The regime was applying a lot of restrictions to the universities and to the students. Security officers from the police were put inside universities' campuses. Armored vehicles were parking there. and if needed, weapons are used against hundreds of them. Throughout 3 years, more than 50,000 of Egyptians were detained because of their political opinion. The majority of them are students who have been arrested from inside their universities while making protests against Sisi and his regime. The situation forced Omar and his friends to take the decision of leaving Egypt, as if they stayed, they would have just two options, either to be arrested or to live in a very insecure place.
After that, after the coup and after the Rabaa massacre, we start to make protests against the regime, against the coup, against the military coup in Egypt. And the main field where we were protested was in universities. So I was with friends protesting in our university, Al-Azhar University, against the coup, against the police was entering the university, like so we were against that. Even the police were shooting us. There are a lot of friends who has died in the school inside the university, inside the campus. You can imagine how the situation was bad. So in one day in 11 December 2013, I got injured here in my face, as you see. The police entered the campus. We were protesting. They entered the campus with a lot of soldiers. They start shooting us with shotguns, tear gas, all of this stuff, and we just had stones to throw them by it. I was collecting some stones from the ground. Then when I stand up again, something hit me. I don't know what was it until now. Maybe shotgun or something like that. So after that, they took me to the hospital. In the hospital, during if there are any protesters in the universities, they put some soldiers in the hospitals, so they catch anyone who got injured and go to the hospital. I was with some friends. These friends has been like catched by the police. They spent 3 years in the jail. Like they just were with me, so this is why they spent these 3 years. There were a soldier with me during my operation in the hospital. I spent 4 hours in the operation room, and after that I spent like about 6 days in the hospital. And they also put me in a case in the jail with my friends that we attacked some police, and we even in another place, not in our university. They put us in the case in another part of Cairo. We weren't there. We haven't been there. But you can imagine how injustice the situation is. So after that, I get out from the hospital by some friends, with the help of some friends, and I couldn't stay in Egypt more. Like the situation was very bad. They went to my home to start trying to arrest me. So I decided to leave. It was another hard journey to make. Like I was dreaming that I will stay in my country, dreaming for my country, that one day I will be a part of a lot of people who are trying to build it again. So the decision of leaving was very hard for me.
The day of leaving came. Omar couldn't see his family on that day, and he couldn't say goodbye. It was very dangerous for him, and even for them, to meet each other. So he decided to go alone with no one with him.
What was your feeling while leaving Egypt, while
were with your mother and you were leaving the airport. Did you see your mother? Did you see your father? How was your feeling this day?
Actually, it was a very hard day for me. Like I didn't see my mother on this day. Actually, I went to the airport alone. Yeah, alone with the driver. Just me and him. Because it's I couldn't go to my home to say goodbye to my family. It was really hard situation, and the hardest part, you don't know when you are gonna meet them. You don't know if you are gonna come back soon or not. So you are leaving, and
In that time, you know that there's a case against you.
yeah, like it was a very bad situation, and I think it's not only my situation like that. There's a lot of students, a lot of people in Egypt. They have maybe worse situations. The regime now, the military coup, they are making unbelievable things against the people. Like there's a lot of friends, they just catch them in the streets, and they put them in any case, like because they are in Azhar University, where I came from. It's a big university in Egypt, and there's a big protests there. So any student from Azhar University, they can catch him and put him in any case. Like it's really bad situation. So I when I was in the airport, I looked from the window in the plane, and I start talking to myself, like I don't know when I'm gonna see again my country, Egypt, my friends, my neighborhood, my family. I actually cried in this day, in this moment. So it's really hard to leave your country, and you don't want, and you don't know if you are gonna come back or not.
According to some Egyptian organizations in Turkey, there are more than 2,000 Egyptian students studying now in Turkish universities, and this number is increasing seriously every year as the Egyptian regime increases its procedures against them. A lot of problems and obstacles are facing students here every day, starting from the Turkish language they don't know, the expensive life compared to Egypt, being forced to start their bachelor programs again, and their families, whom they are far away from.
But I thought that it's like it's one life, as you know. Like it's not fair to live it for.
Also, it wasn't your choice to come here.
Yeah,
From the first
yeah.
of all, I mean, the situation in Egypt wasn't like
That yeah, of course, it was bad situation there also. But like I was working in my first year in Ankara. I started working as voiceover in one of the Turkish media production companies, and like it introduced me to the media world, to the cinema world, and I liked it a lot. So I, after reading more about cinema, after like watching some videos, what can I do in this field, I decided to switch.
And you don't regret this?
No, I'm very happy with my decision.
Omar tried to invest in himself. He started working to afford his life. He learned playing oud, and his life went through a lot of changes since his first day in Turkey.
Actually, traveling abroad and being in another city or another country is giving you a lot of opportunities to know yourself again, to start to discover yourself. So it was really a good chance for me. Like now I'm really different between when I first came to Turkey and now. Like it's about 3 years. It has been a long time and there's a lot of changes happened to me. So as I told you, I was studying engineering. Then I switched to cinema and TV department. I'm trying to afford myself, like I don't want to get a lot of money from my family. It makes me really different. Like I remember even when I was in Egypt, I wasn't able to cook or do something like that in the home, but now I have to do everything, almost everything, me and my friends. So it teaches me a lot of things. I also started playing oud, the musical instrument. I learned by myself from YouTube and some online courses. So like I'm discovering myself in this country. Of course now I love Turkey, I love Istanbul, especially Istanbul. I have some places that I love to visit. I love to be there lonely. I start to have a lot of friends, even Turkish friends, not only Egyptian friends. There's a lot of Turkish friends here. We are visiting each other, like we are meeting with each other. So it's like it's becoming to be a second home. I love photography a lot. I have some photos, maybe I can show it to you. It's good. I'm working also with some friends, like we are going out, taking some sessions, photo sessions. It's really good. So like the university is easier because I love it. Easier than engineering because I love it. I love the subjects and courses that we are taking. So as I told you, it makes me different. It makes me totally different. Yeah, when I think about Egypt and what happened there, about the coup, Rabaa massacre, my friends, my family, it's hard to explain. But you know, it's something that you cannot forget. It's stuck in my memory. Like I will never forget what happens in these days, especially in Rabaa. The hardest thing is that you don't know when are you gonna go back to your home, to your friends, to your room. This stuff is really hard for me, and I think not only for me, for a lot of Egyptians and Syrians, Iraqis who are out now from their countries, from their homes, because the situations in their countries. So I hope it will be fixed one day and we can go back. I hope so.
Omar, a lot of Egyptian students here in Turkey tries to have a normal life. He tries to go over all the problems he has passed through his last year in Egypt. And first of all, he's looking for his safety, his good future, and that this future will carry for him a day of return to his country, to his home, and to his memories.